Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. I'm called Morinzi. We begin with our top stories. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Kavaye Jibril, has called on separatist fighters to release all captives without condition and stop kidnappings. He was speaking at the National Assembly this June 8 while chairing the opening of respect of the implementation of their minimum wage at 60,000 francs CFA, amongst other worries, and have called for a halt of activities beginning June of 2021. And today, June 9, 2023, is observed as the International Archives Day. Their archivists reflects on the future of the professions, which they say is threatened by digitalization. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. The Speaker during the opening of the second ordinary session of Parliament. More on the story with our reporter, Hyson Cha.
In his opening statement, marking the start of the June ordinary session of Parliament at the lower house, the Speaker, Kavaye Jibril, sends a message of appeal to the separatist fighters to free all captives under their custody without condition. He condemns the numerous cases of kidnapping for ransom. And on behalf of the members of Parliament, the Speaker cautioned Cameroonians to watch out against the cholera epidemic ravaging lives, as he tasked the government to take immediate actions to improve upon the sanitary dispositions in hospitals. The disturbing situation of striking health personnel also preoccupied the lawmakers as they demand for lasting solutions. Present at the opening ceremony were members of government, here led by Prime Minister, Head of Government, Joseph John Gotti. As Kavaye Jibril equally insisted that measures be taken ahead of time to pay out all dues for the ongoing official examinations across the country to avoid other strike actions from teachers. The second ordinary session will, in the days ahead, focus on the budget orientation in preparation for the 2024 state's budget, and the people's representatives will also be seeking to have answers on the latest increase of the 2023 state's budget by 381.8 billion CFA francs through a presidential decree to enhance the reconstruction process of the Northwest, Southwest, and the Far North regions.
While some members of Parliament have saluted the Speaker's call for separatist fighters to drop their guns, others have questioned the silence of the same Speaker over his silence ever since the Anglophone crisis broke out in 2016. They say it's time to put the problem on the table of the National Assembly and seek lasting solutions to the problem. Get the reactions of some MPs after the opening ceremony today, gathered by our reporter, Hyson Cha.
What we can say about this speech is that it is good to denounce, but we think it is better to act. And since 2016, we have not succeeded in organizing debate in National Assembly to come out with its own solution, with own vision for the situation.
He talked about the kidnapping of women in Babanki, Mezam division of the Northwest region. Security issues in our country is a major problem. Cameroonians have the right to shuttle from left and right. Therefore, security measures should be stepped up so that Cameroonians, their security can be ensured and can be assured so that they can move from one part of the country to another. We are conscious of the fact that the security challenges are not only found in the Northwest region. In the far north and in other parts of Cameroon, there are challenges.
Especially that of teachers whom he said that fare for marking should be paid in time. I know we have some financial issues, but paying in time will also help the teachers to move forward. So I think that a lot of things are in the pipeline in trying to correct some of the human weaknesses that we all come across or we do commit along the line.
Storm in the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party, the CRN, following the sacking of Barrister Tamfo Richard from the directorate of the party. Cajun Henry Atembe takes a look at the reason behind the dismissal of Barrister Tamfo Richard. His story.
Intra-party strife is brewing within the ranks of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement after the flushing of Barrister Tamfo Richard from the party's directorate. Barrister Tamfo is accused of anti-party behavior. According to the barrister, his only offense was to question the age of the party's head, Professor Maurice Kamto, and his open support for the candidacy of Barrister Ndoki Michel to challenge Professor Kamto at the party's convention slated for November 2023.
You cannot take a position against the leader of your party when you are still within the party. So that's what happened. The difference is that you can solve in the family. Even in your house, communicate out, and then it is against the hierarchy of your party, is wrong. I think Cameroonians call elites, even school, when they access in political party, they should know that there's a hierarchy they have to respect.
In a phone conversation with Barrister Tamfo Richard, he said some members of the directorate moved a motion for him to be fired from the directorate, a decision that was quickly endorsed by Professor Maurice Kamto. However, Barrister Tamfo says it is his right to question some critical decisions in the party. In a social media posting, one of the party's officials writes, Barrister Tamfo is known to have goofed party discipline.
And council workers have expressed frustration over the non-respect of the implementation of their minimum wage at 60,000 francs CFA, among other worries, and have called for a halt of activities beginning June 21. With a call for a strike action, the council workers trade union have been convened for a meeting at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security Friday, June 9, to certainly seek possible solutions to the problem. More on the story, read our reporter Gladys Ambo-Diba.
It's been 47 years since trade union leaders have been expecting a change in the status of council workers as mentioned in the decentralization law, which promised them the status of council staff. All claims to ensure the respect of the law has been futile, leaving council workers frustrated.
We want the minister to ensure the implementation of 60,000 CFA francs minimum wage, just like those of other workers with whom we have the same status. These include workers of the National Social Insurance, FECOM and MITU. We need our status as local public service agents. We don't have a life. We don't have a career.
The council workers say they even feel more frustrated with a recent decision signed by the Minister of Labour and Social Security addressed to the Director of the National Social Insurance Fund, demanding the implementation of their minimum wage at 41,875 francs CFA. They describe this as provocative, emphasizing there is a legal disposition that gives them the right to benefit of their administrative and financial autonomy. As local public service agents, they are claiming their rights of a minimum wage of 60,000 CFA francs.
Nous avons attendu 1997 pour déposer.
We waited until 1997 to submit a letter claiming our status and at the same time demanding for a collective convention, but it fell on deaf ears. We submitted a second letter in 2009, but nothing was done. In 2019, we welcomed the creation of the Ministry of Decentralization, hoping it was an end to our sufferings. All attempts to create a consultation framework to seek solutions to the plight of council workers failed.
On June 2, 2023, the trade union leaders signed a release calling on all council workers to observe and announce strike action beginning June 21. Union leaders have been convened for dialogue at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security June 9, 2023 to certainly seek lasting solutions to their problems.
A gang of 3 alleged assassins accused of killing a lady working at the Yaoundé 5 Council are presently in the gendarmerie dragnet. The 3 break into her home, stole her money and other articles before setting the house ablaze. They were presented to the press this Thursday as we hear the following story with our reporter Beatrice Nkamu.
Here they are, the trial of a murder crime at the 11 neighborhood in Yaoundé last May 30th. The story goes thus. The victim in question, Helen Abomo, official with the Yaoundé 5 Council, that fateful day shared a meal with her nephew, and when she was siesting, the nephew then stole her phone. Knowing she had received Jangi money, developed this devilish intention.
The woman has receiving money from Jangi. So his nephew was aware of that. That is why he was pushed to go and kill the woman to take the money.
He then rallied his partners in crime. Rendezvous was that same evening at the residence of Helen. Realizing she has recognized them, they decided to bind her hands behind her back and locked her up in her room. With that, they went to work immediately, collecting money and other articles.
Moi, je l'ai appelé et puis nous sommes arrivés. Je m'en nous, on devait prendre juste l'argent. C'est arrivé dans l'affrontement, parce que j'ai appelé ça un affrontement.
As if that is not enough, they then set her room ablaze. The firemen and gendarmerie arrived at the scene around past 7 p.m. Realizing the fire is from a room, their efforts only led them to a roasted body with hands behind her back. Investigation began. And in 3 days, the National Gendarmerie was able to nab the 3 presumed assassins. Noted for the drag-and-run theft aboard motorbikes along the Hotel de Plateau, Mobile Essence and Eleve stretch of gendarme population collaboration saluted.
Ask population to collaborate with gendarmerie by denouncing all cases that they can live in the quarter.
Operation needed to get such criminals off our neighborhoods and ensuring the population can sleep eyes really closed.
Challenge of persons wherever they find themselves in Cameroon is said to be a major hindrance to the growth of physically challenged persons. The rights or associations fighting for the rights of this group of persons have put up a digital platform that went operational since 2022, 1 year after. The statistics remain insignificant reason for a training workshop that opened today in Douala involving council officials and other stakeholders. More in the following story.
The most recent statistics from the Ministry of Social Affairs reveals that 2,910,000 persons are living with disabilities. Statistics will remain questionable by different associations to protect persons with different forms of disabilities in Cameroon. They continue to question the lack of proper data, updated statistics on persons with disabilities in Cameroon, a factor described as a major hindrance to their growth in society.
This platform aims to help to know exactly how many persons with disability we have in our country, in our different regions, in many they are, and where they can be found.
The lack of statistics and lapses observed so far provoked the launch of a project which is a digital platform to identify and localize persons with different forms of disabilities wherever they find themselves across Cameroon. From the platform, it would be easier to diagnose their problems and give possibilities of reinsertion in society. The platform was launched in 2022 and has already registered close to 2,000 persons living with disabilities.
The platform aims to register persons with disability in such a way that anywhere you can be able to know how many persons with disability we have in our country.
The digital platforms will enable the government to work out a plan of action for these persons, 80% of whom are jobless.
And today, June 9, 2023, is observed as the International Archives. Their archivists reflect on the future of their profession, which you see is threatened by digitalization. In Cameroon, archivists say the lack of training and tools that is needed to upgrade the sector. More in the following story.
This is the Archives Department of the Senior Divisional Officer for Wuri in the Littoral region.
Yet documents are filed without respect of norms and standards. The few archives we met in the office gives a taste of how the job is neglected and to what extent it is difficult to handle archives.
We have archive box where we put those documents every end of year. Or classify this in order.
This worker at the prefecture talks of the challenges faced.
The difficulty to conserve the documents. The buildings are not always adaptable. Some of our colleagues don't really know the importance of archive.
With the world going digital, archivists are obliged to match with the changing times.
Archive is the memory of an administration.